Hello everyone, Shana Banana here with Pear Rave Island Adventures. I've recently been pondering my life and how I've lived, what I've contributed to the world and to society, and what I'm leaving behind as my legacy. With all the stuff and the great things that's happening in my life right now, I'm researching ways to stay focused, to stop procrastinating, to reach my goals, and get on a path where I know exactly what I want in life and what direction I need to go in to meet my goals. And I'm trying to gather any information that will help me. I quickly found out that I was all over the place when it comes to reaching my goals and what just felt right in here. So I had to ask myself, what is the most important thing to me, in my life right now? And this led me back to a video that my now husband, sent me 5 years ago. It's a short film about, it's called the Opus, and he sent it to me again, and I rewatched it a few times, took some notes, and it really impacted me on kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. So I thought I'd do a little review on it. It's very short. The film, I think, is only like 45 minutes long in the first place. So basically the film starts with a reporter. He's going to interview Vincenzo Vivaldi, who is like the most accomplished violinist in the world. And Vincenzo's really old. He's on his deathbed, and the reporter's going to interview him to ask him what made him great, what key factors attributed to his greatness. So he goes in, he sits by the bed, and he asks him this question, and Vincenzo says 2 words. He says the Opus, and then he passes away. So the reporter leaves like wanting to know more. So he starts telling the story of how he starts reviewing and looking into the story of how Vincenzo rose to his fame and how he became who he is. And that's where the book goes in, the movie goes into the story about that. And in the movie, the short film, it interviews a lot of people along the way that are very successful, like the co-founder of FedEx, the guys who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, ace fighter pilots, best in the world, billionaires, people with disabilities, people who have had traumatic experiences, people who have overcome things at all odds. So and they give a lot of great advice and information on what the Opus has meant to them and how they've utilized it in their life. So the film basically starts with Vin is like 7 years old. He's coming to America on a boat. He's on the boat. He hears this beautiful sound, and it's this old man playing a violin. And he was drawn to it. He knew it. He felt it in his heart, in his gut. He was drawn to it, and he was just captivated, and he just knew that's what he wanted to do. He just had that aha moment at 7 years old. The violinist basically told him that if he believed he could be the best violinist in the world, that he would be, because he believed that, and asked him, "Do you believe?" And Vincenzo said yes. He didn't hesitate. He didn't say, "I don't know if." He said, "Yes, I can." So because he believed, he knew it would happen. Violinist gives him a notebook, tells him to write down his goals in it, and reminded him that his opus is not what you do, but the legacy of what you have become in your life. So first, in this chapter, what first is, Vincenzo had a vision. So everybody, when you want to reach a goal, when you want to be great, reach greatness, you have to have a vision. You have to see what that is. And if you had a magical wand you can wave over you, who would you be? If you could change yourself or be anybody, and you had a magical wand that it could happen today, who would you be? And then once you have that goal, start now. Don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect situation, for perfect circumstances, because it's not going to happen. Start now. It's going to be, if you feel it's going to be something you love to do, it's going to be your passion, it's something you do and you're happy about doing it when you're not at work, when you are at work, if your work is fulfilling like that, it's just, you feel it. Big or small, it doesn't matter if it's painting pictures on plates or putting a rocket up in the out in outer space. It doesn't matter if it's something you're passionate about and you love to do. Um, I I knew my whole life that I was going to work with animals. Anybody knows me knows that I would cry over an animal before I'd cry over a person who dies or gets hurt or whatever like that. I knew that, so I always had a clear goal of what I wanted to do from a very young age, and I'm very grateful for that. So having that clear vision, I was always working with animals, trying to save animals as a little kid, like like I could save them. Always looking after them. So I wasn't, as a young kid, I wasn't like pursuing my career. It just came natural to me because it came natural to me in my heart and my gut. But once you get a clear vision, especially as adults, we can get a clear vision. We have the power to focus on that vision and go for it. And when you focus on that vision, things in life will just synchronize into place. And in saying that, like, I had a clear vision of wanting to work with animals. And then when I was in high school, I traveled to Europe, and I fell in love with Europe, with the German club. Frau Blanner, rest in peace. With the German club, I traveled to Europe. I fell in love with it, and from then, that moment, I was like, I'm going to be an interpreter. I'm going to live in Europe. I'm going to immerse myself in the culture. I'll probably never return to the United States, blah, blah, blah. So I was straying off my path of loving animals. I still love them, but my focus of working with animals. And I ended up going to college, my first year at Stetson University, for foreign languages. Well, the whole time I was in college, I wasn't focused on the classes. I could really give a crap about them. I didn't feel it, like there was no excitement in it. It was like a job. I almost got kicked out of the dorm because I kept bringing in stray kittens and frogs and lizards, and I had a pet snake, and anything that needed help, I would bring them in. And every time I got busted, I'd get another mark. I'm like, next time you're out. But so after that first year, I realized I wasn't a fit there. It didn't fit. I didn't feel like I'm going for what I want to do. So I took that year off, and I brought my pet snake home, and I just kind of was just working, nannying, doing odd jobs, everything, not really focused on what I wanted to do. Even though I loved animals, I'd given up, like, I lost track of that's what I wanted to do. So there's certain things called laws of attraction. I don't know, a lot of people have heard of them. And one of it is what you think, feel, and do is what you attract to you. If you think positive, you attract positivity. If you think negative, you attract negativity. And so these laws of attraction actually work. The energy in your heart, like physically, the energy in your heart is 5,000 times more electrical and powerful than in your brain. So that's why you can think, oh, I want to do this. And that's powerful. Yeah, okay, I want to do this. But I want to do this, when you really feel it, oh my gosh, that energy is it's like 5,000 more times. So the power, you basically, you need to power your thoughts from the love and the power you feel from your heart, like what you really want to do in your heart. So setting goals that are not in line with what you're feeling in your heart will never work. You may set a goal to do this, and you're doing it, but really your heart is, saving animals or building a house or whatever. And I found that out, like I said, when I went to Stetson. I was studying foreign languages, but my heart wasn't in it. My goals were, elsewhere. I wasn't clear on them yet. I lost track of them, but they weren't what I was doing, and therefore nothing was working for me. Nothing was ever going to work. I could have forced foreign languages and interpreting down my throat and studied, but it would have never felt right. So if you set these goals that are not in line with what your heart feels, you're not going to succeed at them in the way you should. And so next in the story, Vincenzo, he met this guy. He sets a goal. He goes, I'm going to be the best violinist. We didn't have a violin. So he's air violining, and he's practicing, and he's doing all this stuff. And basically he was a kid with nothing, no violin, nothing to be a great violinist. But he saw way down the road, he saw himself on stage being this amazing violinist. And that's what it takes to really reach your goal. If you want to be a doctor and you see yourself treating patients, 20 years down the road, a lawyer, you see yourself getting that person off for a crime he didn't commit. You just got to see those goals and feel them and live them, and you will become that amazing person. See it if it's already happened. So your first step to accomplishing it is intention. Your intentions have to be true. You have to be doing it for you. If your dad was an attorney and he just expected you to be an attorney, and you grew up him saying you're going to be an attorney and you're going to become a partner, but really you wanted to be a truck driver and travel the world or travel the United States and see the country and meet great people, and that's the wrong intention. The intention has to be what you truly want to do, not what somebody else wants you to do, not from an obligation that you promised your dead grandmother before she died. For none of that. It has to be something that comes from you. Once you see your vision, see your goal, see yourself like Vincenzo did on that stage, then you reverse engineer it, work back, write down your thing. Okay, what I need to do from here, and you reverse. What are these steps I need to do to get there? And you see it from all in the distance, and then write the steps down that you need to do, reverse engineer, and then you have a plan. You have this plan. Seeing the big end picture and working backwards, it will get you there. So next in the story, Vincenzo finally gets his violin. He goes into the music store, he gets his violin, and he commits to it. He's constantly practicing day and night. So he's getting a little bit better, but he's just fumbling around, getting a little bit better, fumbling around like that. So his goal was still to become the best violinist. And there are some questions when you want to set your goals. What moment will have the largest effect on your future life? What moment will carry the greatest future consequences? And what moment will have the farthest impact on you and those around you? And in my case, again, I love animals. I'm fumbling around. I don't know what to do now. I'm not at Stetson anymore. I brought that beloved snake home from Stetson, and I loved that thing. Her name was Bartle. She went everywhere with me. And one day I come home and she's really sick, and I could tell she was dying. I didn't know why. I snatched her up. I went to Indian River Animal Hospital, Dr. Berger, on Highway 50 at the time. Amazing, best vet ever. Went down there. I walk in. I'm not running out my nose. I'm blubbering, crying. I'm hysterical. I hand him my snake, and he takes her back. And I can remember where I was sitting, what dress I was wearing, what kind of hairstyle I had. And I remember sitting there just hysterical about my snake. And I looked up to the left, and on a bulletin board is this little tiny postcard that says St. Pete Junior College Veterinary Technology Program. And when I tell you, everything stopped, time slowed down, huge light bulb, my heart jumped, I felt it in my stomach. I was like, that's it. I lost track. That's what I would do. I ripped that card off, and I was ready to go. So that's one of the moments in my life that I'm it wasn't the day I graduated from vet tech school, or this day or that day with all these amazing expected moments. It was that moment sitting there in that vet hospital and ripping that card. I can still literally hear the sound of the rip. It was such a moment in my life that's the moment that I think changed my life. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be so small like that. But that's the moment that changed my life. So when Vincenzo, he's having all these experiences all along the way. He never loses sight of his goals. He saved money for lessons. He bought that violin. He saved money for lessons. He was practicing all the time, even though people were making fun of him. Like, oh, you're going to be the greatest violinist. Yeah, right. Go sweep the floor, boy. They were just making fun of him. So it took a lot of courage for him to ignore the naysayers. And y'all might have had something in your life like that. I always had a lot of support in my life when it came to veterinary medicine and animals, because I think everybody knew it was my passion. But a lot of people don't have that. They have an idea and it's their passion, and people say oh, that's stupid, or but what if this happens? But what if this happens? But what if this happens? And who cares? If it's your passion, ignore those people. Get started with what you have. If it's $10 in your pocket and a piece of string, and you want to make the most beautiful necklaces, string necklaces that ever existed, take the $10, take that string, and start making necklaces. A mediocre plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow, because we know we'll never reach a perfect plan, and then it'll never happen. So tomorrow will never happen. Focus on what you can do today and not what you could do, because people who focus on what they could do are still sitting on their duff in front of the TV saying, I could have been a lawyer, I could have been a doctor, I could have been a pilot, I could have been this. They're still sitting there instead of saying, I can be this, I can do this. Those people are out doing it. Start small if it's overwhelming. Start with little bitty things, like the necklace. If it's overwhelming, make a little single necklace, then get better and better and better and better. Have that plan. Change it as needed. You're not going to have a plan and everything's not going to go exactly the way you want it to all the way to the end. You're going to have faith, take action, and just work your way through it. So the way Vincenzo in the story succeeded in his plan was he started surrounding himself with accomplished violinists. He didn't surround himself with the kids in the street. He didn't surround himself with the losers. He surrounded himself with accomplished violiners. You hang around with successful people in your field and you mimic what they do, making it your own, mimic what you do, and you believe in what you do, then you will succeed. There's a saying where you want to be the dumbest one in the room. And the reason you want to be the dumbest one in the room is because if you're the smartest one in the room, you've plateaued. You have nowhere to go. If you're the dumbest one in the room, you can learn from all those people who are so much smarter than you, and you can keep growing and growing and growing and reaching your goals. And model your actions and your everything you do after what other people have done that have succeeded. Model it. Make it yours, but model it after their actions, and you'll succeed. So the next thing that happens is Vincenzo, unfortunately, loses his vision. He goes blind. He wakes up blind. And now we're at the obstacle phase. He's at the obstacle phase of becoming a violinist. He can't read the sheet music anymore. He doesn't have, somebody can't be by his side to tell him what to do every minute if he's going to be a great violinist. So this kind of talks about focusing on the things you can change instead of the things you can't change. Vincenzo couldn't change that he was blind, but he could change the way he responded to that and what he did with what he was handed him. Silence those negative thoughts. You're going to meet obstacles like he did, and it's easy to say, well, crap, I'm done, I failed, I screwed that up, this isn't going to work. And it's okay to get down, but it's not okay to stay down. Get down, regroup, get back up, and keep going. When you get down and regroup, you'll come up with something. Just have faith. So Vincenzo keeps practicing, and it's harder and harder because he can't read the sheet music. It's just everything is just harder. He's starting to feel like a complete failure to the point where he got down so much that he said, I'm done. He went back to the music store. He went to sell his violin to the guy he bought it from. And the clerk asked one more time, Vincenzo, can you play one more song for me? Vincenzo, so I can't. I don't have the help that I usually have that I need to play the music. And the clerk says, well, play it from your soul. Just start playing. Just play it from your soul. And Vincenzo did, and it was more beautiful than anything he's ever played before. And he felt it. He felt, wow, I'm doing this. I don't have, the help. I don't have people reading me the sheet music. I don't have all this help around me. And here I'm playing this amazing. And he started feeling powerful, and his momentum started building and building and building. And it's that minute that he said, I'll never quit again. I'm blind. I'm going to keep moving, and I can do this. I'll never quit again until I reach my goal. So that was a huge moment of change. And I know we've all had those moments of change like that. I've been down before on certain things, and I've been down before on certain things, and I've had these moments of change where they were just like, bam, in that bed hospital, and other ones in life where it just hit me, and I thought, I'm not going to give up on this. I don't care if it's fixing a car, fixing something, you know what I mean? Don't give up. You're going to have that moment where you got to step back and say, ooh, I got this, and you'll have an epiphany, and you'll get it done. And the only way you're going to get it done is you decide to get it done. You have to make that decision for yourself. Nobody's going to make it for you. Decide to get it done, and then do it. And then decide not to give up again. Don't be afraid of failure. talk, part of this story is overcoming failure. Don't be afraid of failure, because failure is what educates you. You fail, you learn from it, hopefully, and you correct what you did, and then now you have education. You're probably not going to do it again. You're more knowledgeable on whatever subject you failed on, and it's education. If you use it, you got to use that education. And it's easy to get frustrated, but you have to work through the frustration. I know when I do stuff, so I get frustrated. Some words come out of my mouth that shouldn't. I may throw something here and there, but after I have my little temper tantrum, I work through it and I keep moving on. And I reject rejection. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm not going to let anybody who has negative thoughts towards me affect me, because I don't have time for that. I have amazing things to do. One of the analogies on this was one of the fighter pilots in the film. He was a fighter pilot, and he was talking about how when he shoots missiles, like he was like, be the missile, because when he shoots a missile, it doesn't like go from here to its destination. A missile relies on constantly correcting errors to get to its destination. So it goes and it meets an error, and then it fixes, zigzags until it meets its destination. So those little zigzags are kind of your little failures, possibly, that you need to learn from. And so basically what I'm saying is, like, zigzag your way to your goals, zigzag your way to your legacy, to your opus. Just keep moving. You need those zigs and zags in order to get where you want to be in life. Change things you don't like about yourself. So if you're really serious about getting to a goal, there's probably something you don't like about yourself. Be it your short temper, that you drink too much, you smoke, maybe you don't like smoking, you're shooting for a goal in a prominent field where smoking is looked down upon. If you don't like that about yourself, change it. Set your mind out to change it. If you drink too much and you're slacking the next day, or you're not fulfilling your commitments because you had a little too much beer, whatever, commit to get rid of it, because it's holding you back. And you're not going to reach your happiness and success if you have these little toxic relationship, overbearing mother. I don't know. You got fix it, deal with it, fix it, so you can move on and reach your goals. It's little things that get the ball rolling on some things. And for analogy for that, this has nothing to do with veterinary medicine, but my husband and I purchased an island on the St. Johns River like 2.5 years ago, and we were driving down State Road 46, and we drove by Mullet Lake Park on 46, not even to the park. We were just cruising along, coming from someplace else, and he looked over at me and he said, there's an island on the St. Johns River that I tried to buy 25 years ago, but it was not for sale, or it was too expensive or something, and he wasn't able to buy it. And I oh yeah, that's great. And he looked over at me and he said, one of these days I'm going to own that island. And I gave him the classic eye roll, yeah, right, okay, that's great, honey. And literally a week later, he walked in, he tosses his cell phone on my lap, and right there on Craigslist, of all places, says island for sale on the St. Johns River. And it's that exact island that he was telling me about. And so by him thinking it out, by him saying, he saw a vision. He already saw himself owning that island. He already saw himself, all the activities that were going to be on the island. He saw it down to signing the paperwork and how it was going to go. By thinking that out, he manifested that. And and I was like, how are we going to do this? And it's the little things that get the ball rolling. How are we going to do this? Well, he looked at me and said, make a phone call to the owner. And I did. It was that one little phone call that got the ball rolling. If I would have been scared or fearful and said, no, I don't want to, what if he says no? What if he's not going to work with us? He's not going to own our financing, blah, blah. If I would have said all that, I would have gotten nowhere. Nowhere. We'd be backwards. So the next part in the story is Vincenzo. He's getting good. He's starting to perform in small venues. Momentum's building. People are starting to really notice him. So because he's committed, and he's just committed, he's working, doors start opening. they just naturally, when you love something and you have your passion, you're doing it with rightful and honest, and you have a goal, doors will automatically start opening for you, like laws of attraction. You're putting in, you're going to get back, like that. So that's where he was, and then he went the rest of his life slowly becoming the greatest violinist ever. And when he did, that still wasn't his opus. That still wasn't. He didn't want to end there. He was the greatest violinist ever, but he felt that there was one more thing, and that one more thing came when, fast forward many years, Vincenzo is sitting in a beautiful winter morning in a gazebo, alone in the snow, playing his violin, and sure enough, here comes a young boy, walks up, follows the sound, is just mesmerized by the sound, just like Vincenzo was all those 80-something years ago on that boat. And Vincenzo gave him the same advice that violinist on the boat gave him all those years ago, gave him a notebook, told him the same thing: start writing down your goals, and you believe you will become the best violinist. So that, not just him being a great violinist was his opus. His opus was that he passed on that love and that dream to somebody else. And he gave back to somebody. He gave back to a dream. He gave a dream to another kid, just like he was. And that's what successful people do. They become successful and they give back. And the more they give back, the more they get. And that's why they get successful. It's not always because they had, mom and dad's money or that everything was handed to them. Most of the time they worked very hard for it, and they gave back, which brought them favor in their lives. So to me, your opus is not about what you did in life. It's about what you had in life. It's about what you did while you were here. It's not about all the possessions you had in life, but what you did with them when you're here. You can be a billionaire on the hill, Lamborghini, beautiful home, everything you have, but you're a jerk. Then on your deathbed, everybody's going to say, yeah, he was a billionaire, had this great Lamborghini and everything like that, but he was a jerk. Or you can be amazing, give back to people. I'm planning on starting I am starting a nonprofit for animals, for emergency medicine, because animals has been my love my whole life. And I peaked out at being a vet tech, but I always still felt there was something more, that there's something more I could do. Now that I'm getting older, I'm not a vet tech anymore, I'm retired, so I still feel like there's something more I can do. So I'm starting a nonprofit to help emergency care for animals in emergency situations. So what I did in life was be a vet tech. And yes, I saved a lot of animals and I was very good at my job, but that wasn't my opus. I think my opus is going to be developing a foundation and a nonprofit that continues to help animals long after I'm gone, long after I'm dead. And that's one of my goals, and that's why I'm reading these books and gathering this information. The real tragedy in life is it's not that you don't reach your goals, it's that you never even planned a goal or had a goal to reach. It's like, how sad would it be to I can say there's a lot of goals I haven't reached, but I've tried like hell, and I'm okay with that. But if I would have never had a goal to reach for, that to me is a real tragedy. So on your deathbed, when you ask yourself, did I do everything I could with everything that I was given to me in life? And your answer is not absolutely, then you might want to rethink the path that you're on and rethink what you want to do with your life, and then go for it. And be extraordinary. Just be extraordinary at whatever you do. Anyway, that's my take on the opus. And I'm going to keep moving on. I have more and more to learn in different ones. I'll post other videos on here about stuff that I've learned along the way. And it's helping me to just speak it out and post it, even if it doesn't help anybody else. But I hope maybe one person sees it and says, yes, I can do this too. Thank you very much. Shana Banana, Pair Ray of Island Adventures. Bye.